Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Box Office Talk. This is the show where I break down what happened at the box office, see if my predictions for the top 5 are correct, then make predictions for next week's top 5. So let's get right on into it. Last week I predicted that number 1 would be Kraven the Hunter, number 2 would be Moana 2, number 3 would be Wicked, number 4 would be Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim, and number 5 would be Gladiator II. And wow. Complete goose egg on my part here. None of my predictions were correct. It started off bad with me overestimating how well Kraven was going to do in the first place, and then just, everything else fell in line. Some of you did get your predictions right this weekend, so it's not just like, oh, it was really hard to predict. I think it's just a me thing. Quite a few of you actually did get your predictions right, so congrats. Let's move on to what happened in the overall top 10. Number 1 was once again Moana 2. To no surprise, really. I think I saw a couple predictions saying that Wicked was going to overtake it this weekend, and obviously that did not happen. They are very close, though, so we will talk about that in just a second. Moana 2 did make $26 million domestically, adding to a domestic total of $337 million. So for Disney Animation, it is so close from outgrossing Zootopia. Right now, it's $4 million away from that, but it is in the top 4 still. For the year 2024 domestic runs, it is right behind Wicked, needing $22 million to outgross it there. But it is in the top 5 highest grossing domestic runs of the year. Worldwide, it is past the 700 million points, sitting at 717. It is outgrossed Big Hero 6 by 70 million and the first Moana film by 33, so that was a recent one that just happened. That places it similar to the domestic list, number 4 for highest grossing Disney animated runs worldwide in this instance. For the year 2024, it has outgrossed Dune 2 by 9 million and now it needs 252 million until it outgrosses Despicable Me 4. So another 4 spot. It's in the top 4 here as well for worldwide 2024 runs, so that is pretty incredible. Last weekend, I did kind of open the possibility that the holdovers could suggest that Moana 2 might get overtaken by Wicked, and I'm still, next weekend, I'm not entirely sure about it just because of the 2 big movies that are coming, so I don't think it'll affect that much change. But something that I did notice that this is another, about 40 to 50% drop, not terrible, obviously, and, it's already made so much money. It's already quadrupled its $150 million production budget. But something that I did notice is that Wicked, coming in at number 2, not only, is it right behind as far as, would have made this weekend, 22 million, by the way. The holdover is about 30 to 40%. So once again, not only are these two neck and neck as far as what they have made this weekend, but if you just look at the percentage drop-offs, Wicked is holding over much better than Moana 2. Now, I don't know if that's just because Moana 2 got really front-loaded with the Thanksgiving kind of weekend release, and a lot of fans were anticipating it, so they went early for that one, and now it's just kind of the leftover stragglers, whatever, this steady kind of decline, because obviously it is a popular movie. And more people are just discovering Wicked and hearing about that and oh, is it really supposed to be good? I guess I'll check it out. Obviously, worldwide, it has not made the same amount that Moana 2 has. Moana 2 has squeaked ahead of it. Domestically, it has a little bit of the edge. And I think there is a part of me that is Moana 2 could still maintain momentum and, outgross it just by a little bit, but if you just look at the percentage drop-offs, it shows a little bit more of an interesting battle. Like I said, I'm not sure if it will overtake Moana next weekend because of the 2 big money earners. I don't know if it'll affect that much change with these 2, but it's still possible is what I'm saying, and that's kind of exciting, you know what I mean? A much better movie overtaking Moana 2, that'd be great. For musical films, it is 41 million away until it outgrosses Frozen domestically, so it's, man, a lot of 4s. It is the number 4 highest grossing musical still. For the year 2024, 2 million away from Despicable Me 4, so, number 4 for the year, but it's about to be number 3, so we could just count that, but, for accuracy's sake, I guess. Worldwide, it is sitting at $524 million. So if we're going by $150 million being their initial production budget, they have tripled that budget, and they are about $76 million away from quadrupling it, which is very exciting. I think we'll be seeing that happen very soon, which is very cool. For musicals worldwide, it did outgross La La Land there by $18 million. It needs $45 million until The Little Mermaid, the new one, but it has entered the top 10 at this point. It is number 9 on the list. For the year 2024, it is 23 million away from Kung Fu Panda 4, so it is number 8. So yeah, just good stuff all around for both of these films. Obviously, I'm a little happier about one of them, but if the box office is thriving, then theaters are thriving, and that's all that matters, I guess. And then you get to number 3, which is Kraven the Hunter. And like I said, this was kind of like estimating to kind of open pretty modestly, and I thought that that modest number could put it above these other two, but man, the estimates really dropped down. I think once word of mouth started to spread, and also just the headlines saying that this universe was dead really did not help, obviously. It made 11 million this weekend. Worldwide, it is only sitting at 26 million. And of course, it's a comic book movie. It's going to be over 100 mil budget. It's saying it's around 110 to 130. Either way you look at it, though, there is no way they're going to bounce back. The word of mouth is that this is awful, so there's not going to be like this lingering, like, well, maybe we can give this a shot. I mean, over the holidays, maybe some people will be like, now's the time to see Kraven now, but it's really not going to be enough. It's dead, man. As far as the opening weekends, it is 4 million below what Madam Web made in its opening, which is previously the lowest opening ever for the SPUMM universe, and now Kraven is the lowest. It needs 32 million until it outgrosses Madam Web domestically, and that's just not going to happen. Worldwide, it needs 74 million until it outgrosses Madam Web. So Madam Web is their competition. And it's just, there's just no way. And I think just by a thin little margin, Kraven the Hunter is a little better. Well, I say that, but I mean, Madam Web is like so bad it is very funny to me, so it's kind of a toss-up, actually. Never mind. I was going to say it's kind of a bummer because this was technically a smidgen better, but they're all interchangeable. They're all the same. People are tired of this, obviously. And if people are so tired of it, then I don't think I need to talk about it anymore. We know this is surprising, but we're all over this. Let's move on to number 4, which is Gladiator II. Still holding on for dear life. It made 7 million, adding to a domestic total of 145 million, so that places it 42 million away from the original, but 20 million away until Hannibal. So right now it is still in Ridley's number 4 spot for highest grossing domestic runs. Worldwide, it is sitting at 398. So I mean, you know, not for nothing, they are almost at 400 million worldwide, but I would say they are still not close enough to being in a safe spot. Like, okay, what I've been saying is like, because the budget is like 210 to 310, it's kind of unclear where it actually is. If you just want to double the 210, right now they would need about 22 million until, for our show's standards, that is considered a success. But even then, for a big blockbuster like that, and with a budget that high, usually a safer bet is that you get to 500 million. And I mean, it's been here for a couple weeks, you know, it's remained in the top 5. The percentage drop-offs kind of vary from to that's okay. But like, it really does not have like enough momentum to like keep marching towards like an Oppenheimer, like Barbie kind of run, you know. I know Glicked, I used Glicked in the title when that happened a couple weeks ago. Some people, you know, tried to make it happen, still talked about it. And I think even Variety, when they did their actors on actors, trying to act like it was a thing, but really it's not, because like Oppenheimer, it was crazy how well that one did, in unison with Barbie, you know what I mean? But meanwhile, it's just Wicked doing incredibly well, and then Gladiator 2's like, well, how well is it doing? Really, Moana 2 and Wicked are the ones that's the pairing. They're just a week apart. So, anyway, sorry, I went on a bit of a tangent. Worldwide, it is 53 million away from the original, and it is 4 million away until it outgrosses Prometheus. So, once again, it is the number 4 highest grossing film for Ridley worldwide, but it is so close to Prometheus, we might as well just say it's at number 3 already. But for accuracy's sake, blah, blah, blah. A lot of top 4s. Hopefully that can change for these next ones. Number 5, Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim. I still don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, and I've seen the movie where they say it maybe once. But it made $4.6 million. When I made my prediction that it would get to number 4, I kind of figured like it's not going to make a whole lot. Anime is still kind of like a pretty hard sell for like a mainstream kind of audience. I thought maybe there'd still be a little bit of a boost because it is Lord of the Rings, but I think word of mouth is kind of just indifference. Not many people who like it are like praising it or talking about it enough, and you know, most reviews I think are like kind of like middle of the road kind of reaction. So they didn't really make like a great case for it. I can't say they've marketed it very well. Like you'll see the trailer every once in a while or a poster, but as far as like it's here, go see it now, it's the big event, it's like you know what I mean? This really was the weekend of like movies that, you know, could have been like this like big thing if you promoted it well enough and made a big deal of it, but instead it's just like, I don't know, They really thought like the Lord of the Rings logo or the Marvel logo was enough to get them in, and obviously that was not the case. But it made 4.6 million domestically. Worldwide, it is sitting at 10.3. This is on a budget of $30 million. It goes without saying this is the lowest opening out of any Lord of the Rings film. 43 million below the opening weekend of Fellowship of the Ring, and obviously that's not, adjusting for inflation. So I think even then the opening weekend for Fellowship would be much higher. It has such a long way to go until it outgrosses any of the other films. Like domestically, it's 251 million difference between Battle of the Five Armies, and then worldwide, oh my god, it's 884 million a difference until Fellowship of the Ring. So it's like, man, you have a franchise that does really well with these other live action films, even like the Hobbit movies that, kind of started to dip out near their end. They still made, their money. They got out of there with some money in the bank. And then you have this one, which for all intents and purposes, it was never going to be their highest grossing one, but it should have a little bit more of like an excitement around it, some anticipation. And instead it's just kind of fizzling here. Anyways, let's move on to number 6, which is Red One, now available on Amazon Prime. I'm surprised it's still in the box office list at all. Making 4.4 million, adding to a domestic total of 92 million. It is still not outgrossed Super Pets. Domestically, it is 1 million away from it now, but it still hasn't officially. Worldwide, it is sitting at 175 million, so that's 28 million away from Super Pets. Still not outgrossed that one stinker. Look, it's on Amazon Prime now, so I feel like there's a part of me that doesn't expect it to stick around longer. Maybe there are some people that are like, I don't know, maybe we save it for the big screen. I don't know those people, though. Like, I don't think those are real people that are just like, the highly anticipated The Rock Christmas movie, but let's wait until closer to Christmas to see it. I mean, it's losing screens, I'm pretty sure, with all these other movies coming, so I mean, that's a bad bet if you're that person doing that. I don't know, man. I just expect it to drop out of here soon now that it's just, by the way, free on Amazon Prime. It's not that you have to rent it. You can just stream it. So there you go. That's where it was always meant to be in the first place. So number 7 is Interstellar, still here, making 3.3 million, adding to a domestic total of 199 million. So for Nolan, that places it 6 million away from Batman Begins. It is so close from getting into the top 5 highest grossing domestic runs for him, which is pretty incredible. Worldwide, it is sitting at 724 million. I think I had to adjust a little bit from last week and they had it a little bit higher, but right now it is 724, which places it at 101 million away from Inception, but it is still in the top 5 of his highest grossing worldwide run, so no sweat, no biggie there. Number 8, let's just move along to number 8 because it kind of comes with a correction from last week. Number 8 is Pushpa The Rule Part 2. Now this was actually in the top 5 last week, but because the numbers, and me stupidly not checking Box Office Mojo or anything to double check, the numbers did not have this listed on there, but I had waited so long in the day, I was like, well, maybe this is it. They've stopped updating it seems like, so I think this is it. This was actually in the top 5, so I got my predictions wrong last weekend actually as well. So sorry. if you got your prediction right, then I apologize. I wish I could give you a shout out, but it's just too late. I'm sorry. But it made 1.6 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of 13 million. Worldwide, it is sitting at 154 million. So there you go, on a budget of 400 to 500 crore. Hopefully that's good for them. Number 9 is The Best Christmas Pageant Ever, making 1.3, adding to a domestic total of 36 million. Still not close to outgrossing Jesus Revolution, the Kingdom Story Company. It's sitting behind that one now by 16 million, but they're getting closer, and you can't fault them for trying on that one. And then finally closing out the video, number 10, Queer, A24's Queer. I was kind of surprised to see this on here. I did not know if it would have enough, like, kind of limited release momentum to get it in here, but here we are. It made 790,000 this weekend, but that does add to a domestic total of 1.9. It is on a budget of 48 million euros, according to Wikipedia. So obviously, I don't think, believe it or not, I don't think that 1.9 is enough to clear that yet, but I mean, I don't think this is a movie that you make expecting like a huge box office turnout. Like if you're A24, you want the new Luca Guadagnino movie. You don't necessarily care how much money it makes. It's like how, Ari Aster delivered them some good, like, low-budget hits with Midsummer and Hereditary. So it's like, sure, you can dump fucking 30 million into Beau's Afraid. That is literally the least of our concerns right now. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe in some ways that is a bit of their concern. But I think just as far as trying to maintain a good working relationship with Ari Aster or some of these other artists, that A24 is the studio where they will take a risk like that. Also, Heretic did pretty well for them as far as like a low budget hit recently. So, who cares? Now it's time for the fun part, the predictions for next week's top 5. Number 1, I am maybe a little ballsy. I am going to go with Sonic the Hedgehog 3. I think as far as like the estimates, it's looking neck and neck between this and Mufasa, which is my number 2 prediction. But I think that Sonic 3, I think there are a lot of fans who are wanting to see this. I think a lot of people are hyped up for this. I think it will edge out Mufasa because I know there are still people who will want to see this. Some, families that will take their kids to see this over Sonic for some reason. But I do think the hype surrounding the new Sonic film with Keanu Reeves' Shadow is more prevalent than the hype for prequel to bad live action remake that people don't remember. Number 3, I think, will be Moana 2. Number 4, Wicked. And then number 5, Kraven the Hunter. What are your predictions for next week's top 5? Leave them in the comments below. And as always, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe. I'm Jackson Fulcher. See you guys next time.